What is good, y'all? It's your boy Ty back here with another video. Whoa, before we go any further, if you haven't yet, go ahead and smash that subscribe button as we are on the road to 20,000 subscribers. I just appreciate all the recent support and love on my videos. You guys make this a lot of fun for me to do. Today what we're going to be doing is kind of an informational video for you guys, because when I first learned, obviously I still got to work on greening shots consistently, but I feel like I'm pretty good in at greening shots. I feel like anywhere from 60 to 75% of threes I take, I make. And so that's not a bad clip, especially when you consider that they are three-pointers. That's basically an effective field goal percentage of basically above 100%. So I feel like that is something that I do pretty well. And what I'm going to be doing today is kind of explaining how I got to that point. How did I get to the point where I was at first shooting 40 to 50%, now from 60 to 75%. How did I get there? And that's what I'm going to be here to tell you guys, kind of those steps and different stuff that I do that will help you guys out. So without further ado, let's dive right into the video. Learning how to green consistently and just learning how to really improve your offense shooting wise isn't just one simple step. I wish I could say, okay, it's simple, you turn your shot meter off and that's it. But that's not as simple as it is. But the first step to everything is turning the shot meter off. That is the first thing that I think is the most important thing. Because if you play with the shot meter, the rest of it isn't as important, because the shot meter is so unrealistic to the actual shot time that just goes out the window. And the second thing I do, that I'm just going to go over kind of my settings, is my vibration on PlayStation is on. On Xbox, it's off, because on Xbox, the controller vibrates when you do everything. So PlayStation, it's on, and I do think at times it can be helpful. But on Xbox, it can't be helpful enough when it's vibrating no matter anything, any dribble move, anything I do. The next thing is something that is so overlooked, and I notice this when I play and don't have shot feedback. It makes the world a difference between off to all shots. Because when you white a shot and you don't know whether you were early or late, how are you going to make that adjustment? Especially if you're playing with a kind of newish card. Let's say a new Bill Russell comes out. You're missing every shot. You might be slightly early every single time, but you don't know whether you're slightly early or slightly late. So how are you going to really make that adjustment to be able to green? So your shot feedback has to be on all shots. It really does. Otherwise, it will be very, very tough for you to really green consistently. This next thing I'm going to talk about is an overlooked thing. As you guys can see, it's super zoomed in because of some work I was trying to get done with the thumbnail here. But your camera. I see a lot of people playing on 2K low, broadcast, whatever it is that you guys play on. Please just play on the normal 2K camera. That's where I've found success. I know that's that's where a lot of other people, or what a lot of other people play on as well. And so that's something that can't be overlooked. And so when you come in to shoot around, and you shoot around, before I talk too much, too fast, shoot around is going to be the prime place for you to kind of get the initial release down. Obviously, there's more to it than just getting the initial release down. You got to learn different dribble combos. What's the release like off the peekaboo? What's the release like off the hezzy or old step back? Because they are different releases, and there's different release timings to that. So, for example, when Kareem's blinking, he'll get a terrible snatchback animation, and so I have to use the old step back, and I have to know how to green off that old kind of step back looking jump shot. Same thing with like a quick stop. It's just different release timing. Same thing with the catch and shoot. There's so many different release timings within one release, and that's something I think gets overlooked by the vast majority of people. People are like, it's the same release. Why am I shooting slightly early on the catch and shoot, and then off the dribble I'm greening everything? It's because most people don't make that necessary adjustment that you really need to make. And for example, if you're using a guy like Magic Johnson, off the catch and shoot, his release is very, very smooth. I love his release. As you guys see, I'm slightly late on everything, and I'll explain why here in 1 second. So with Magic Johnson, in just the catch and shoot situation, he's going to be knocked down. But the moment you try doing a peekaboo, he gets a little load up animation. I don't know if you guys can see the big difference. That's slightly early. But he gets kind of a different load up animation, especially when he gets a little bit tired. And so when I mess with Magic Johnson on a peekaboo, the majority of times in my team unlimited, you're gonna see a slightly early. That's what you're gonna see me shoot with Magic off the peekaboo the majority of times. Same thing off the old step back. It's just a different release because he doesn't really get the same load up. It goes right into the shot compared to off the peekaboo. He does get a kind of I don't know if it's a load up, but just look at his left hand right here. It gets kind of stuck there for a second, which does give you a different release timing compared to really just the catch and shoot situation. So just learning those different types of things and different releases within one's own player is a big type of thing. The next thing I'm going to talk about, and I think this is overlooked again, is most guys with Hall of Fame quick draw have basically the same release time. So like a DeRozan has basically the same release timing as this Magic Johnson, and it's not gonna seem like it. Because of the fact that Magic Johnson's release doesn't look as good, and it's, you know, but for you in the release timing, he might not get the shot off quicker or as quick as DeRozan, but the release timing is gonna basically be the same. And that's something I think between Gold Quick Draw and Hall of Fame Quick Draw that most people do overlook is the difference between those. Because with Gold Quick Draw, the release, you got to hold it down a little bit longer. And then the adjustment to Hall of Fame quick Draws, it's just way quicker. So most people with Gold Quick Draw are going to have about the same release. Same thing with Hall of Fame Quick Draw. So you guys need to know which those specific cards have. Do your cards have Hall of Fame Quick Draw? Do your cards have Gold Quick Draw? And I know especially when the Opal T-Mac first came out, people were like, man, I prefer the Pink Diamond T-Mac release. And the thing about it is, I did too at the beginning, but then once you get used to the Hall of Fame Quick Draw, it's lights out. As you guys can see with DeRozan, his release is pretty easy to green. Now, one thing I will say, get comfortable with a lineup that you like using. So DeRozan, I'm comfortable with his release. I like him. If I could, I would play T-Mac with DeRozan or in the second unit because they got that same kind of release. Same thing with Kareem. I like his release. And that's the thing. With the Opal David Robinson, with the steady shooter, I can't consistently agree with him. That's why in a comp type situation, I probably won't play David Robinson very much. I just really won't. But the biggest thing that I can say, I'm going to put a base 11 player in here for you real quick. With a lot of the base 11 players, you got to kind of release it on the way up. And that's one thing I struggle with because I was like, it's not the same as last year. As last year got to the top, you're going to get a late every time. The moment you think of last year, you're going to get a late. You got to just make that adjustment, release it 1 second earlier, and you're going to green a lot more shots. Now, I'm shooting just way early right now. But once you guys notice that, same thing with AK, James Worthy, Heater Turkaloo, you just got to release it on the way up. Now, I will say I kind of guess a lot of times with Danny Manning on his release, because that's just the way it is with base 11. But that's just a little informational piece to throw in there, because I was struggling a lot with base 11 until I learned that. So the biggest thing I can tell you guys is just getting comfortable with the lineup, knowing what type of quick draw they have. Hall of Fame quick draw, Gold quick draw, know what type of release they have. And the last piece of advice, probably the most important piece of advice you guys can take away from today, is you guys got to get used to the transition between Freestyle and Unlimited. Because there is a little bit of latency no matter whether it's East on East or West versus East. There's going to be a little bit of latency. No matter what type of online mode you're playing, whether it's TTO, Unlimited, Multiplayer Challenge, no matter what it is, there's going to be a difference between Freestyle and Triple Threat offline compared to these online modes. And so you just really got to get used to those different releases. As you guys can see with my lineup, I got guys that I can green with pretty consistently. If you guys have seen me play with these cards, I got guys that have pretty consistent releases. Now, if you look at my bench, Wilt Chamberlain, tough kind of release that I'm not consistent with. Cat, I had his release down for a little bit, but if I would try to go and use him now, I would not be good with. Same thing with Rashard Lewis. He has the JR base, decent release, but not great. Grant Hill, not a good release at all. So when you're looking through my players, Chris Webber, Shaq, I don't play these types of players usually. Usually I play guys that consistently I can green with. And so that's one thing to note when you're creating a lineup, trying to figure out how to green. You guys got to get good guys with good releases. This Kawhi has one of the best releases in the game right here. He does, and he is very overlooked, especially now that the Opal's out. Jimmy Butler, another kind of 100K budget card that is super, super good. AK, I like his release, and he's just a good player all around. Eddie Curry got a smooth release. I'm comfortable with Roko's release. I know a lot of people don't like him. And Spicy P's release, obviously, is very, very smooth. So when you're just looking at my lineup, obviously, I'm going to play with guys I'm comfortable with. But guys, that's basically it. You just got to know those things. Shot meter, shot feedback, difference between offline and online, and then just getting comfortable with players with off of their specific dribble moves, with the peekaboo, with the old step back, off the catch and shoot. Just knowing those little things will help you become a better player and help you really increase your green percentage by a large amount. Guys, that's gonna wrap it up for the video today. I hope you guys did enjoy the video. Drop a like on the video, subscribe if you are new, and as always, man, I love y'all and have a blessed day.